light. Shadows creep and crawl with every scream. Hear the echoes call. Synths and guitars in a haunting blend. An 80s vibe where the terror transcends. Shocktoberfest, scream until dawn. In your nightmares, the terror's reborn. Lights flash, monsters take flight. Embrace the darkness, it's a metal night.
Hello everyone, and welcome back for Day 7 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. As always, I'm your host, Wildman Wes. Today we move on to the year 1982. Quite a few movies that were the good and the bad and the ugly came from this year, especially in the horror department. Some of them that I remember fondly were the original Creepshow, Poltergeist, and possibly even, roughly around this time, a little director known as Sam Raimi was getting his start. But I digress. We're not going to be talking about those today. Today, for our first episode of 1982, is Basket Case. Okay, I have heard about this movie so very much, and I've never actually watched it. I've heard people reference this movie back and forth from channel to channel, from documentary to documentary. And I sit here going, Wes, why haven't you reviewed it yet? Aren't you the aficionado of horror movies? Well, I'm not the best, but I'm getting there. The movie Basket Case is about a young man named Dwayne who walks around the streets of New York with a basket. What the concept? Basket case, carrying a basket. Wes, just get on with the damn review, would you? As Dwayne starts walking through New York, he comes across this very run-down hotel, and he's got a big handful of cash that he starts paying to stay at this hotel. Some of his residents, as well as the landlord, start looking kind of interested at him, going, he's got all this money and he's in the slums of New York. We better do something about this. Here's the kicker. In Dwayne's basket is a very deep, dark secret. His Siamese twin that was removed from him, causing him absolute pain, disfiguration, and he and his twin want revenge. Revenge on the doctors and the surgeons and the nurses that put him in this position. So, what do you think they're going to do? Oh, that's right, folks. They're going to go and collect on that revenge, and they do so rather well. However, Dwayne starts feeling a little guilty about the situation, and he wants his twin to stop. There is a brutal fight back and forth, Evil Dead style. That's where that Sam Raimi reference comes from, folks. That's why I brought that up. Until, at the very end, Dwayne and his twin have a fatal fall. And we think they're gone. But who knows? I do know that there are other sequels after this film, and there's a good chance that Dwayne survives. But you'll have to find that out for yourself by going on your local streaming service. So we're going to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this film. Let's talk about what I like. I do appreciate a lot of the dark humor and campiness of this film. I know there are reviews I've done in the past when it comes to other movies, whether it's horror, whether it's action, especially with the Worst State of Movies series I was working on. Yes, sometimes camp can go overboard. In this situation, the campiness, it works. It works because they at times don't take themselves seriously, and at times they do. They take themselves seriously during the horror and torment of the people that Dwayne and his twin are trying to get revenge upon. When it comes to the moments that Dwayne is having second thoughts about the plan, and he has his little fights with his twin, his little Siamese twin in the basket, yeah, that becomes campy. That becomes crazy. The times that he has interactions with the other people in the hotel, such as a call girl and also this girl that works at a doctor's office that he's going to torment, and they have a little romantic relationship, yes, there's some campiness in there that works perfectly. However, they didn't go overboard on this one, and I do appreciate that. When I mentioned that kind of Evil Dead-esque Sam Raimi concept, the fights between Dwayne and his twin, especially where what you don't see in horror films, can be one of two things. Either incredibly terrifying or hilariously funny. When I think of other films that have done this concept of not really seeing the action on the other side and just watching the follow-up impact of somebody flying around, yes, that is very funny. One example would be the original Reanimator, where Herbert West and one of his little friends are trying to look for a reanimated cat running back and forth in a basement. And they're sitting there just yelling and pointing, it's over there, what's going on? See, that's funny. That is very funny because not only is it campy, it can be terrifying because you really don't know what's going on, and plus, there was no music during those scenes. Because if there was some music in there, it would be a little bit more campy hijinks. In this situation where no music is playing, that's where you start to get a little bit uncomfortable. Is this supposed to be scary? Is this supposed to be funny? And there are times where you have an awkward laugh. And in that awkwardness comes fear. And that is also really great. Before I continue stroking this basket case ego, I have to talk about things that I really don't care for. Two things in particular I didn't care for, starting with one. Though this movie does have a lot of humor and a lot of scary moments, some of the scenes are drawn out. And a lot of them probably have to deal with the interactions between Dwayne and some of the other characters, such as the girl working at the doctor's office that he builds a romantic relationship with, or his neighbor that's a call girl in the hotel, where they go and have a bunch of drinks, and then they come back, and then there's kind of that will they, won't they, and all hell breaks loose. Some of those scenes probably were about 2 to 3 minutes too long. And so when I say that, it's just, you sit there wondering, okay, is this person going to be the next victim? Or are they not? And that happens multiple times. And that's where I feel that those scenes are drawn out. When I talk about one thing that I didn't like, I have to talk about the other thing I didn't like. Yes, I know that this movie was made in 1982, and special effects probably weren't of the greatest for a lot of production companies. With the basket case Siamese twin moving around, they relied a lot on stop motion. I understand. There are movies out there from big name production companies, even in 1982, making things with stop motion. A lot of it might have to be maybe a love and appreciation for people like Ray Harryhausen, who did things like Clash of the Titans. I get it. However, I feel when it comes to horror films, there were movies that came out prior to this that used more than just stop motion animation, especially when it came to characters that weren't alive or more animatronic. And in this situation, though it's funny, at the same time I sat there going, really? This movie is such that people talk about this so much, and that it was slow motion. I mean, I've seen claymation videos after this look better. I've seen claymation videos before this look better. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore because my brain melted. Just like the clay. Maybe I'm looking too much into this. It's horror film, Wes. Deal with it. Okay, let's step down from that soapbox. Wes, we gotta grade this film. Going off of what I talked about with what I like and what I don't like, from the separation between horror and comedy, as well as the situation between long drawn-out scene overload and the stop-motion over-reliability, this movie is actually still very, very good, and I do appreciate it. And I do literally agree with a lot of things that other reviewers have said about this film, whether it be from the social media platform, or if we're going back to reviews from cable television days, especially in the 80s. With the grade I'm going to give this one, I'm going to be a little bit more lenient on this. I'm going to say B+. This movie, as I mentioned, it made me laugh. It made me do that little side take. Do I want to look at this moment because I know something disturbing is going to happen? That alone, just for those two things, make a movie good. That's my honest opinion, because it's the best way to describe it. It's like a train wreck. You don't want to look, but you gotta peek. And for Basket Case, it's a train wreck that we all should deserve to peek at. Well, we hope you enjoyed this review on Basket Case. If you've seen this movie before and you agree with my great review, leave a thumbs up. If not, I understand. Other than that, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, let's get that algorithm up and get to 500 subscribers before 2026. Push that little red button, ring that bell, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, fun and party. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you tomorrow for day 8 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. Take care, and as always, stay scared, kiddies.